I am that I am. 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 I am that I am that I am that I am. I am that I am that I am that I I am that I am. 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 I am that I.
Ashe will say. Ashe will say. I'm in Rahet Tip. I am, we are. Give thanks and praises for Sister Queen Destiny Muhammad and her skills with that instrument and her spirit with those words. Ashe, Ashe. Grand Rising, Mose. Hope you all are doing well in the spirit of Mott. It's such a joy, such a pleasure, such a privilege to be together in the Wose community of the sacred African way, the Wose community of the spirit of Mott, of truth, justice, righteousness, balance, harmony, divine right order, reciprocity. Ashe, Ashe, Wose. So right now we're going to have the affirmation, Wose community affirmation by Mama Akanke and Baba Karabazi. And following that, we'll have a song by the To Be New Cultural Gatherers. Come forward, Ashe.
Ashe. Good rising to
Good.
everyone. Just want to say a special good rising to my beautiful brother. Rising, my police. They haven't talked to you in a minute. So we'll do the our Wose community affirmation. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation, with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We would strive to be the living models of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are the children of God.
Ashe.
Ashe.
All right, to be new.
Greetings, greetings, family. Wose family, it's always a pleasure to be back here at Wose for the first Sunday service. My name is Brian B. Bowling.
And I am Zakia G.E. Capehart Bowling.
And we are the To Be New Cultural Gatherers. We would like to keep in the pace with the beautiful weather that we've been having. This has been a beautiful summer that we've been experiencing. And I would like to do our first offering for Wose service today. I would like to do the composition written by War called Summer.
The poem that I have written is entitled New York City Summer.
Rolling around town with all the windows down. 8-track playing all your favorite sound. The rhythm of the bongo fills the park. Street musicians trying to get a start. 'Cause it's summer, summertime is here. Yes, it's summer, my time of year. And it's summer, summertime is here. Well, it's summer, my time of year. Stretched out on a blanket in the sand. Kids of all ages digging Disneyland. Rapping on your CB radio in your van. Give a big 10-4 to the trucking man. 'Cause it's summer, summertime is here. Yes, it's summer, my time of year. Well, it's summer, summertime is here. And it's summer, my time of year.
Summers in the city holds memories in my body that are etched in my mind. Sun blazing through the blinds, whether open or shut. Early mornings laying in bed, dripping with perspiration, knowing the hot day had
in tow, hoping a shower would give me relief. Rolling out of bed, sweating profusely, wetness falling from the nape of my neck. Watching water puddle on the hardwood, slipping and sliding across the floor just to reach my bathroom door. Wanting to take a cold shower, a mere daydream at best. Finally feeling water against my body, cleansing my musty, sweaty skin, being refreshed with clear, clean wetness of water, invigorating, energizing, revitalizing, assuring my calm in life's sanity. But the thought of sizzling heat in the humid, trapping city, bouncing off concrete, drowning me in sweat again. A dip at Coney Island Beach would help me escape from sauna-like temperatures and the perpetual steam hovering over New York City streets.
Young boys playing kickball in the street. Fire hydrant help to beat the heat. Old man feeding pigeons in the square. Nighttime fine young lovers walking there. 'Cause it's summertime is here, and it's summer, my time of year. Well, it's summertime is here, and it's summer, my time of year. In Oak Town or down in Malibu, anywhere in between, I'm telling you. When you feel those balmy breezes on your face, summertime is the best time any place. 'Cause it's summertime is here, and it's summer, my time of year. Yes, it's summertime is here, and it's summer, my time of year, my time of year, my time of year, my time of year.
Ashe, thank you to be you. Ashe, it's summer. Ashe. Right now, we're getting ready to bring somebody forward who can tell you that it's summer, because he lives where it's the capital of summer in the state of California, Sacramento, California. And that's none other than Minister Imhotep Cable One coming forward with our historical tribute for today. Come on, my brother, and wake us up.
Yes, it's supposed to be 105 today. So
See.
I know. What study? That seems hot to you? Not here in Sacramento. It got 110 one time this year. All right. Hey, at no time during a Will Say service do we not pause and reflect on the great and magnificent deeds of our ancestors. We think it very important to keep at least 5 to 10 generations alive in the minds and memory of our people. We think it very important to show and demonstrate the hand of God moving throughout the history of the African people, because when our people were at their height, they were closest to God. Our historical tribute today will focus on a great, and that would be Benjamin Banneker. And he goes back to 1731, and he passes away in 1806. And a lot of our information today will come to us from the book Black Pioneers of Science and Invention by Louis Haber. And this is an old copy. I think the cover looks different now. I got mine in 76. And in that book, you have Lewis Latimer, Granville T. Woods, and of course, who's that guy? I can't think of his name. Can't think of his name now. What? Can anyone help me?
George Washington.
Carver.
Oh, okay.
Harvard.
Okay, you guys are ready. All right, so we're going to talk about
Washington Carver.
yes. There seems to be an echo on here.
If someone needs to mute yourself.
All right. So Benjamin Banneker, and these are different portraits of him. And I got this little timeline. So it goes back to 1683. Molly Welsh arrives in Maryland from England as an indentured servant for 7 years. 1690, she achieves her freedom and begins farming tobacco in Baltimore County. In 1692, Banaka, a prince from a tribe in Senegal, arrives in Maryland on a slave ship. And he and another slave are purchased by Molly Walsh. And then she subsequently marries Banaka, and they have 4 daughters. And then one of those daughters in 1730 marries a former slave, and he takes her surname. And from that union, Benjamin Banneker, the son of Mary and Robert, is born, a free African in Baltimore County, and his surname only later becomes fixed as Banneker. In 1737, his father purchases 100 acres in Baltimore County, and Benjamin's name's on the deed. Now, Benjamin Banneker was a brilliant young man. And when he was 22, somebody gave him a pocket watch, and he constructed a wooden clock out of it that kept time for 40 years. He was interested in astronomy, which is really what our story is about. He began studying astronomy, and he was the assistant to this man by the name of George Ellicott. And then Banneker engages in correspondence with Thomas Jefferson, discussing the merits and mental endowment of African Americans, and his he was against slavery. And Banneker joined Ellicott's team to survey the boundary for Washington, D.C. And he subsequently calculates the ephemeris for the first of his 6 annually published almanacs. So from 1792 to 1797, he was publishing almanacs. And I had to go look up, I had to say, what is an ephemeris? And it's a table giving the position of one or more celestial bodies, often published with supplementary information. Whoops, went too far. And goes all the way back to the 4th century, and it's still being used today by astronomers and navigators. So as the story continues, 1972, it was recognized by the Smithsonian. They erected a memorial obelisk in 76. In 77, a wood-carved statue of him at George Howard Building. The film, The Man Who Loved Stars, was with Ossie Davis, came out in 1979. He has a U.S. postage stamp in 1980, and so we just keep hearing more and more about him. Even the city, Washington, D.C., is referred to sometimes by people in the community as Banneker City. So as we look at this picture here, it shows him, he got a pocket watch and he made a clock out of it. He was an astronomer, he was a city planner, and he planned for peace in a time of war. He was an advocate for peace. So he joined these surveyors. They were trying to map out where to put Washington, D.C., how to map it out. And there was a man by the name of Oliphant who had come from England to help in that regard, and he had produced some pictures, some surveys, but he was very hard to work with. And he ended up getting mad with the group and taking all his plans and leaving the country. And the people that were trying to lay out the city of Washington, D.C., they were all, dumbfounded. So Benjamin Banneker said, he asked the group, he said, "Did you like the plans?" And everybody looked at him kind of dumbfounded. And they said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I think I can reproduce them." One of the other things that Benjamin Banneker had was a photographic memory. So he went home, came back in 2 days with the plans laid out for Washington, D.C. But something I want to read to you before I close this historical tribute is, he also had proposed a Department of Peace, and this is coming out of Louis Haber's book, a plan of peace, a plan of a peace officer for the United States. Among the many deficits which have been pointed out in the federal Constitution, it is much to be lamented that no person has taken notice of its total silence on the subject of an office of the utmost importance to the welfare of the United States, and that is an office for promoting and preserving perpetual peace in our country. The plan presented several proposals. Let a Secretary of Peace be appointed to preside in this office. Let a power be given to this secretary to establish and maintain free schools in every city, village, township in the United States, and let him be made responsible for talents, principles, and morals of all schoolmasters. Let every family in the United States be furnished at the public expense by the secretary of this office with a copy of an American edition of the Bible. Let the following sentence be inscribed in the letters of gold on the door of every home in the United States. The Son of Man came into the world not to destroy men's lives, but to save them, to inspire a veneration for human life and a horror at shedding human blood. Let all laws be repealed with authorized juries, judges, sheriffs, or hangmen to assume resentments of individuals to commit murder in cold blood in any case whatsoever, to subdue that passion for war which education added to human depravity has made universal, a familiarity with the instruments of death, as well as all military shows should be carefully avoided, military dress, military titles laid aside. Let a large room adjoining the federal hall be appointed for transacting the business and preserving all records of this office. Over the door of this room, let there be a sign on it which the figure of a lamb, a dove, an olive branch be painted together with the following inscriptions in letters of gold: peace on earth, goodwill to man. Ah, will men not forget that they are all brethren? The worship service today is livicated, not dedicated, but livicated to the memory of Benjamin Banneker. May his name live long in the memory of our people. Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Benjamin Banneker. I don't know about you, there were some details about his life that I never heard of, never knew. I heard that he had something to do with designing Washington, D.C., but Minister Imhotep brought forth some important aspects, some important factors. And so we appreciate yet another ancestor who's shown us the way, showing us that we must show our children and generations to come the way. Ashe. So now we have another song by To Be New, to be followed by the Litany of Sacrifice, which will be brought to us by Mama Gloria and Baba Ed. To Be New, let's hear you.
Ashe, 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 family. Again, we're back. To Be New Cultural Gatherers. We want to continue with the theme that we have today, dealing with this beautiful weather. And my second offering for the service will be George Gershwin's Summertime.
My poem is entitled Humming Vibrations.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich, and your mama's good looking. baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you gonna rise up singing, and you spread your wings, and you head to the sky. Until that morning, ain't nothing will harm you. 'Cause Daddy and Mama, they all standing by.
The story he shared was inspiring. As I listened, I envisioned returning to my childhood, standing in the doorway of Mother's kitchen was amazing. His humming took me there. His humming calmed my disquietude, the depths of tones echoed timelessness, stimulating memories from decades of antiquity. Mother humming in the kitchen as she prepared supper. Watching her nurse, my baby sister, sitting in the rocking chair, humming, remembering long country walks with Mother and my sisters, during which time she hummed and sung beautiful ballads. Humming in the woods, picking berries, gathering herbs. Humming in the garden, planting, tending, harvesting. Humming, preparing blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, peaches, pears, and watermelon rinds. Humming, getting wood for the stove fire. Humming sometimes when she took a tree switch to my behind. Humming me to sleep with a lullaby.
Summertime and the living is easy. You know, fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Don't you cry. One of these mornings you gonna rise up singing, and you spread your wings and you take to the sky. Till that morning, ain't nothing will harm you. 'cause Daddy and Mama, they all standing by, standing by. Summertime, standing by.
Summertime, indeed, it is summertime.
Mr. Makalisi, there's an echo with your voice.
Thank you for that. So right now we have this litany of sacrifice. Mama Gloria, Baba Ed, come forward.
Greetings, Rose.
Greetings.
As you look on the screen, you can see that where you can mail your offering, your sacrifice, Rose Sacramento or rosecommunity.org. And I will go ahead and start with the litany of sacrifice. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amun Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Ujichagalia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people, and in
the righteousness and victory of our struggle. I will end the reading of the litany with a prayer. Divine Creator, thank you once again for all the blessings that we have received. We ask that you continue to guide us on the path of Ma'at. We ask a special blessing for the health and prosperity of our Wose family. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mama Gloria and Baba Ed, leading us in the litany of sacrifice. All right. Right now, we're getting ready for the main offering of this celebration. It's a message from Minister Rana Thurston. We give thanks and praises for her presence with us. She's a traveling sister right now. She's been on a journey. She's going to go on another one not too far down in the future. But right now, she's coming on a message of the Sacred African Way journey. So, Minister Rana, come forth as the Most High has led you.
Hatap, Hatap, good day, Minister. Good to see you. Good to see all of you and those of you who I cannot see your faces. Thank you for allowing me to share your space, to feel your spirit. I'm changing over to gallery here so that As many of you will allow me, let me see you. Let me feel you. Let me move with the vibration that I get from your expression. Let me move with the energy that I get from you and whatever your brow furrows to or your smile comes up to. Let me feel it and inspire me. Let's do this together. Ashe, ashe. I'm going to just use a couple of pieces to read from today. So you can make a note if you like. One of them is actually an introduction to a chapter in the Hosea. It's from the Book of Declarations of Virtues, and I'm actually going to work with the introduction to that chapter, which would start on page 91 and goes through page 92. I'm actually only going to do one particular stanza, which is on page 93 from the Book of Declarations of Virtues, which is stanza number 1. And then one of my favorites, which comes from the Book of Vindication, which is on page 113, and it's stanza 3. Can you guys hear me okay?
Just fine.
Okay, okay. And I actually just told a story, kind of, because I found something that I'd forgotten I'd marked last night. But if you want it, it's in the Book of Mott, and it's page 247. When I say the Book of Mott, this is what I'm speaking of. And I've got all this in my lap, so bear with me. I'm going to start with just my message today and my thought today, and it kind of flows through a lot of things, but it's all about Mott basically. And it's a question that I asked for myself, and I thought that I would put it to you all to ask of yourselves. And it is basically, how am I showing up on my journey in Mott? How am I showing up? And I'm going to read first, and I don't think I gave you this, and that's because to me, when I read it, it felt more like a prayer than an actual part of the message. But it is in the Hosea on page 51, and it's in the Book of Keti, and it's stanza 6. And it says, and again, when I read this, it felt for some reason like a prayer, like an opening prayer. It reads, "One generation succeeds another, and God who knows human nature is hidden. One cannot avoid or oppose the hand of God. He reaches all that the eyes see. Thus, one should revere God on his path, as a dry watercourse is replaced by a stream. So no river allows itself to be concealed. It breaks the barrier behind which it was hidden. So too, the soul comes to the place that it knows and strays not from its former path." This reading was interesting for me because of the fact that a lot of what I've been thinking about lately is how one generation succeeds another. I think most of you know my mom is 92 now. She turned 92 July the 7th. And a lot of her friends are in that same area of age, and I've always spent time with older people my whole life. And I guess as I'm crossing now into what would be the second half of my life, I'm looking more and thinking more about what I've done, what I've been doing, what I plan to do, and kind of how I feel about it, how I feel about where I am, how I feel about the time that I have left and what I'd like to accomplish, and just kind of how I plan to get it done is a big part. It's like the list is long, but it seems like the time is short. I went to a gentleman's birthday party. Some of you may know Mr. Oscar Wright. He's a community activist here in the Bay Area, and he just turned 100 years old. And he has been fighting for the children in the Bay Area for well over 2/3 of his life, and children around the world, and the testing and the scoring, and he's sued anybody and everybody who had anything to do with trying to hold these children back. And even at his own birthday party where he was being honored, he took the time still to speak about the fight for these children and what still needs to be done and what still needs to happen. And I'm just like, man, I need some of that. I need some of that really bad, you know. And even with my mom, you know, she fusses about how long she's been fighting, but at the same time, she puts her gloves on, right? So I just have really good examples around me. And this thing that I just read, the very last part of it, it kind of was throwing me. I was like, I need to call somebody and get some understanding, where it says, so too the soul comes to the place that it knows and strays not from its former path. And I kept thinking, well, what if you weren't on the right path, right? And then you just kind of righted yourself back to the wrong path. But we already know that we were born, we were put here, we were created with Sept Hepi and the righteousness of Amun-Ra in us, right? So anything we did outside of that was some of our own making and some of our own doing, because the path that we were set on was one that was with the intention and with the plan in it for us to do amazing and wonderful things. So if we get set back onto our right path, then that's then we're on the path for righteousness. We're on the path for good. So it was just interesting to me how just for a moment I had the human in me was, well, the human in me, the human just was kind of like, I'm not sure about that. So where I want to read from now is in the Hosea again. And like I said, it's an introduction to the chapter, but it's kind of explaining the book of declarations of virtues. And it's on page 91 in the Hosea. And it starts out by saying, and I'm not going to read this verbatim, but close. It says, the heart of ancient Egyptian ethics and spiritual striving is Ma'at. Ancient Egyptian ethics and spirituality, like all African ethics and spirituality, have and stress a practical dimension. Righteousness is real only in personal and social practice. Ma'at then is a social as well as spiritual task for which the reward is an enjoyable and beautiful life in the community on earth and a spiritual life in the heavens as a living God. So Ma'at presents itself to us not as something that we have to wait for a reward for, not as something that we do all of these things so that we have only something after we transition. Ma'at is something that if we are putting it into practice and living it and sharing it and being that vision of it while we are here on a regular basis as part of our lives, it is going to shift and change the life that we are living in such a way that we get to experience it at its optimal. We get to experience it and have all of the rewards of it that are intended for us if we're practicing that and affecting that now. It's not something where you do and do and do and then, okay, I'm going to do this so that when I get to heaven, I get the reward. No, your reward is here and then, right? It's a twofer. So I'm excited about that. And what I would like to look at is the transition from Ma'at within ourselves, Ma'at within our family, Ma'at within our community. And again, how am I showing up? And what I think about is, in Ma'at, one of the things that we think about is knowing ourselves and self-mastery. We have to constantly look at a balance. How can I improve, right? What are the areas that I would like to improve in? What are the areas where I know when I'm alone and it's just me and Amun-Ra and I'm thinking about something that maybe I could do better? Some area where I may need to invest a little more time in order to have a better outcome than what I'm doing. Some area where maybe I reacted in a way that wasn't the most positive. Some area where I may be in conflict with someone. How can I work to be better and do better in those circumstances, right? Maybe it's something as simple as what my diet is. And by diet, I don't mean deprivation. I mean, what am I eating? Am I a vegetarian? Am I a pescatarian? Am I whatever that might be? How am I doing with that? Am I being really aware of what I'm putting into my body? Because there is no place where we go and we can swap out the one that we have for another one when we tear it up, right? When it's tore up, it's tore up. And what we're doing by tearing it up is we're not allowing ourselves to have that full experience that Amun-Ra has for us, right? We're denying ourselves what may be coming for us, but because we have that free will to say, I'm going to put this in my mouth or I'm going to eat this, but that comes with consequences, right? So taking a look at it, and I'm not saying you need to be vegetarian or pescatarian or anything else. I'm saying wherever you are in your process of becoming better in taking care of this thing that has to carry you through, then ask yourself, do I need to tweak it a little bit? Is there somewhere where I'm kind of slacking off, where I could maybe do a little better? Can I walk around the block today? You know, and if I walked around the block every day or every other day this week, can I add another one tomorrow, right? Just looking at our body, looking at harmony in our lives. And this one has been a hard one for me. As a caregiver, you often get really consumed in that other person and in trying to do everything you have to do, plus everything that they have to do. Your harmony can get off track, right? I need to hear music in my life. It's a must. I don't know what you need, but for me, every once in a while, I have to hear some actual instruments being played. I have to hear something that makes me just want to stand up and shake my head or shake my hand or whatever. That's a part of it for me. I have to go to theater every now and then and just sit and be quiet and watch a performance, right? I can't just cook meals and do dishes and do bills and worry about everybody and go to doctor's appointments and do your job and all of those things, right? You have to have balance in your life of all of those things that make you the beautiful person that you are, whatever that might be. If you're into antique cars, Baba Ustadi, if you're into playing and creating music, AJ, if you're into theater and poetry and a beautiful sonnet, Baba Kadabasi, if you're into fighting the power, Minister Alicia, whatever it might be, see, these are people who I can see, whatever it might be, these are things that you have to put those on the calendar as well, put them in the rotation, because without them, what happens is, we start feeling anxiety, right? We start wondering why we got a little bit of an attitude, right? We start wondering why all of a sudden the beauty of, as Minister Alicia said, the sun just shining today, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Somebody tells you, oh, it's a beautiful day today. And you're looking at them like, why are you so happy? Well, why aren't you, right? It's because you're out of balance, you're out of harmony. You want to have all those different aspects of you as a person going and in line and feeding the different parts of your being, right? I'm going to read a little bit more now of that same introduction to that same chapter. It says, the Egyptians thus developed an ideal character type rooted in and reflective of Maat, which the instructors urge and the declarations of virtue state as both an accomplished fact and a model to emulate. The ideal type was the Geru, the self-master, calm, silent, controlled, modest, wise, gentle, and socially active. And the Geru Maat, who was truly the self-master. The first was self-mastered, and the second kind of master of the self-mastered. The opposite of the self-mastered is the unrestrained person, hot-tempered, aggressive, generally infused with Isfet and all that. But the part of this that really stands out to me is that it said, they developed an ideal character type rooted in and reflective of Maat, which the instructions urge and the declarations of virtue state as both an accomplished fact and a model to emulate. So this is where I think of, when I think of, and I've said this before, I remember the first Rosé that I went to, first Rosé event that I went to, and it was a summer solstice, I believe. And Minister Makalisi had come from out of town. And I remember on that day thinking, this guy glows, right? He literally like glows. And he's like going around the event and he's playing a piccolo and he's just singing and he's just happy. And everybody was like, oh, da, da, da. Now it's easy to be like that when you're coming from out of town, right? You don't have to really deal with life issues that are happening where you're going. Everything is like great for that moment. But at the same time, there was very clearly a presence and an essence of him that was rooted in something that I wanted some of. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know what the process was, but I strive now that in my interactions with people, that they are able to not find fault in me because of my character, that they are not able to find fault in me because of my responses and reactions to them, that it's one of those situations almost when I was working in corporate America and I was, running stuff, I used to say, I don't care if you like me as long as you respect me. Well, I think this is taking that to another level, because I do care if you like me, but I care if you like me because I'm a righteous person. I care that you like me because I treat people well. I care that you like me because I'm reflecting Mott and I'm reflecting the beauty of Septepi in a way that makes you say, I want some of that. Whatever church she's going to, whatever community she's a part of, whatever's going on with her, I want to be able to feel that and find that. So I've gone from, I don't care if you like me as long as you respect me, to I want you to like me too, but I want you to like me for the right reasons. I want you to like me for my righteousness. I want you to like me because I'm reflecting God and Amun-Ra in a way that makes you feel so good just to even be around me, that you go, where do you go? Sit down and talk to me for a minute and tell me about your life, because I want some of that feeling. So in that case, yes, I want you to like me. And I don't even know that that's me. I think that's kind of the whole light comes through me, light comes to me, the light is, I think it's that. Like, you might not even see Rana. You just see, the power in Septepi and Ra. I see Ra's light. I don't care if you see me. I know what I look like, but see the light, feel the power. The next thing would be family. So family and community. Family. Woo, okay. Family. Hallelujah. Family. Okay. Nobody said this was easy, right? Okay. So, and you guys know, like I say, Mott is my filter, where we say truth, justice, righteousness, harmony. Sometimes you just see it coming and you just have to start like, okay? Sometimes it's hard. And that same discernment that we have to apply in community, that same discernment we have to apply to family, that same discernment we have to apply across the board, which is that everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to understand where you're coming from, what you're trying to communicate, what you're even talking about with the whole Amun-Ra thing and the whole whatever. It's kind of like you're speaking a foreign language, right? They're not going to get it. And people react differently. Some people will react like, I don't know. Some people will the old faithful, it's a cult. Other people might be curious, but people will have different reactions. And all you can really do, or I can't say what you do, but what I find is that if I focus on what Mott is about, right? Truth, justice, harmony, balance, right order, reciprocity. Somebody give me one more. I'm forgetting something. I think I said, okay, I'll take it.
Balance.
If that, I'll take all of them. If that's my focus, then for me, it doesn't matter if you're Catholic. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish. It doesn't matter if you're Jehovah's Witness. None of that matters, right? What we're talking about is character. What we're talking about is how you and I can sit down at this table and have a conversation about what we need to achieve as a people. We can be respectful to each other in the process of doing it. We can honor our mutual ancestors, no matter what you think of them either. And we can look at a platform to where we can move forward, because that's what we got to do, right? We have to move this thing forward. We have to start with ourselves, get ourselves in order, get our bodies in order, get our minds in order, get our habits in order, get our balance together, get our harmony together. We move that into the other people in our households, the other people in our family. They might not even be in our household, but get them to a point where, hey, understand this is about mutual respect. This is about both of us being able to talk about what's going on without it being that I have to give more or give in or allow you to treat me a certain way, or I have to suffer or you have to suffer. This is about reciprocity, right? And if it's not, then guess what? You get the same boot that Sally Sue, who I don't know, will get in the process with love and respect, right? Because the thing is, we cannot allow people who do not necessarily want to grow or want to understand or want to be open to positive character development and community development and the development of our people take our energy, take our time, take my excitement about what's going on, and I'm going to spend an hour with you trying to get you to understand. And now I'm just walking away from that and I'm feeling drained and beat up and whatever. No, we can't do it. That's an hour that could have been spent on at least, let me at least see the sparkle in your eyes to say you hear me, you're in there, you have some willingness to share with me. So the last one being community. And I'm going to read a little bit more of this same introduction. And it says then, this is the third paragraph on page 91. What one sees then in the declarations of virtues is the practice of basic values on the personal and social level, which pose an ideal type and serve as a model for others to emulate. It is important to note that the personal is inseparable from the social, that righteousness and restraint are always, as in other African ethics and spirituality, achieved, tested, and tempered in relations with others. What does it Minister Imhotep always say about relations? If you're there, Minister Imhotep, about relationships. There's a quote that he often uses. I can't think of it right now. But again, what this is saying is that the African ethics and spirituality is achieved, tested, and tempered in relationships with others. Mott begins with family relationships that makes one praised by his or her father, loved by his or her mother, and cherished by his or her brothers and sisters. Mott expresses itself in a classic statement of Egyptian morality, which appears thousands of years later in Hebrew Christian sacred texts in the form of, I gave food to the hungry, clothes to the naked, water to the thirsty, and a boat to those without one. The last part of the Declaration of Virtue, of course, the last part reflects the seafaring environment and reveals the essentiality of having a means of transportation around the water. Well, we don't need to worry about being able to get up and down the Nile because we've got airplanes, trains, boats, and all of that now. So we have the ability to do that now. But what we need to do, okay, oh, I saw Minister Imhotep. What we need to do is, again, focus on ourselves. getting ourselves into a space and a place of living within the different dimensions of Mott, just within ourselves. It's not something necessarily, I mean, for those of you who've been doing this for a long time, what I'm saying to you is not new, but I appreciate you all shaking your heads and saying, yeah, I get it, I understand. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. It requires you to be diligent. Mott requires you to check yourself. Mott requires you to say, did I just handle that situation in the best way that I could? But not only that, it requires that if you didn't, that you take yourself back and you say, okay, you know what? I didn't necessarily handle that in the best way that I could have. Now, sometimes that's the hard part, right? Knowing you went left, you know, that September in us will tell you went left, right? You feel it in yourself. We walk away, march away, and you're thinking to yourself, I know I just went left, right? But the thing is being able to, once you acknowledge that, being able to come back and say that, right? Because that's where the growth is, because that's where the growth is in Mott for you. And even more so, that's where it is for that other person that you go back to, because we are supposed to be reflecting this in the most beautiful way, in the way of Amun Ra, which means I need to come back to you and say, I was wrong, I went left, or I could have handled that differently. Because now what I'm doing is I'm giving that person something to see and feel and experience through me that could make that person then say, I want some of what you got, right? Which is ultimately how we grow this, which is ultimately how we share this with one another, between our homes, our siblings, our families, our community, our church. We need to put, man, okay. One last thing I want to share with you, and it's about studying and taking studying seriously. Now, I'm gonna take a deep breath on this one, and this is the one that was in the book of Mott. Well, no, one thing before that, and I promise I'm getting out of here. Okay, the one is one that I really like to read, which is in the Hosea. It's page 113. It's in the book of Vindication. I already gave it to you. But it says, the seeker of vindication says, hail to you, judgment council of God. Who shall judge me on this day concerning what I have said and done, being ignorant, remiss, and unmindful? O you who surround me and stand at my back, may I be vindicated in the presence of the Lord of earth. He shall judge me according to what I have knowingly done. I have stood up with my father of truth on my, with my feather of truth on my head, Mott, and my righteousness on my brow. My enemies are greatly grieved, and in my vindication I have gained possession of all that I own. Who shall judge me on this day concerning what I have said and done, being ignorant, remiss, and unmindful? Now, some people don't like this because it says being ignorant, but I don't in this context take it as a negative, because it's simply saying, I didn't know. It's not, I didn't know. I wasn't aware. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the information yet, right? And Ra is saying to you, that part's okay. That's the learning grounds. That's why I gave you this life, to have experience, to go through things. But it's once you do know, once you know better, then you do better. Once you know better, then you share what you know, right? It's that you continue to grow, that you continue to change, and there's no limit on that, right? Like I said, my mom is 92, and it's funny because, man, we have those moments. We have those moments where she's dug in and I'm dug in. And by the end of it, it's like the most beautiful thing, because we both have to find that space in Mott where we appreciate each other, respect each other, love each other, and have a willingness to understand, or at least hear each other's position, right? Okay, I'm really going to get out of here with this one, but it's from the book of Mott, and it's saying it's about studying. And I say this because we read so much, right? Oh my goodness. There's always not one new book, but like they come 4 or 5 at a time around here, right? My cup just runneth over, but it's okay, right? It's on page 247, and it says, it's about, again, the things to do to help us to improve ourselves. Take study seriously. Take seriously your life's purpose and the path towards this fulfillment. Your experiences, observations, and objects of study offer opportunities to grow. Not taking serious your learning slows movement along your path in life. You run the risk of missing opportunities to grow. While no learning is ever wasted, it is important to study with purpose. Put your attention on matters that move you forward on your path, but do not be so rigid that you cannot explore other things. Take the lessons from what you learn and show through your actions that you have learned, right? Devote time each day to study issues and subjects that have meaning and prepare you to fulfill your life's purpose. Write questions, answers, and thoughts into a journal. Take time to reflect on what you study and understand its meaning and implications. Discuss with others in small groups the lessons to be learned from your study, right? So it's not just how many books do you have. It's not even how many books have you read, right? It's actually, how do I say this? It's taking the next step with that information, the next step with that knowledge, calling someone who you enjoy having conversation with, whether it's somebody who you feel is on the same level with you, or whether it's somebody that you feel is way doing their thing, and say, hey, I'm reading this. Have you read it? What do you think about this? I'm a little confused, or I'm getting this feeling, but is it saying this or that? So that then your brain can digest what you read and you can apply it to your day-to-day living, right? So my original statement, comment, question to you was, how am I showing up on my journey in Mott? How am I showing up with myself, with my family, and with my community? And I would simply say, ask yourself those questions. And if there's any area where you feel a little short, then put in the work, put in the time, put in the effort. And maybe there's something else that's on your plate right now that, right, that you can bump. Maybe there's something else on your plate that is not going to give you the return that you would get from putting a little more time and effort into your life being aligned with Mott. And if it isn't, just pinch off a 15, 30 minutes of that and put it over on the Mott side and see what the return looks like, right? All right, y'all, I see smiles. That makes me happy. Ashe, ashe.
Thank you very much. Wonderful inspiration.
Minister Rona, how am I showing up on my journey in Mott? Well, today you showed up beautifully, for sure. And this is not your first time, and I know it's not your last time. Showing up beautifully in your journey in Mott. But raising that question that we all need to ask ourselves, how am I showing up in my journey of Mott? When someone sees how I behave and hears how I behave and wonders if I invite them to be part of what I'm part of, will they say, "Who will be part of that?" No, we have to look how we're journeying so that people be open and ready to know, yeah, what is it that allows you, that inspires you to journey the way you've journeyed, to behave, and the way you interact with me, with them, with us, with situations going on. How are you journeying? How are we showing up, we'll say? How we need to, individually and collectively, we need to ask that question and get some answers. Well, how are we showing up? Folks that we would like to have be part of our community. I don't know if there's someone here today in our service today that's not a member, everyone here is a member of the Wose community. If there's someone here today that's wondering about this community, we would like for you to let it be known. If you're interested, that what Minister Rana has shared with you, with us today, is what we all are endeavoring to share. Sometimes we get it right, and other times we get it wrong. But we would like to invite you to let it be known that you would like to be part of this community so that we can work together, live together, grow together, journey together in the spirit of Ma'at, in the spirit of truth and justice and righteousness, balance, harmony, divine right order, reciprocity, and love for ourselves individually and collectively, love for ourselves as a people. Oh, that's something we really need to be working on. We got so much stuff that's going on in this country and around the world that our people just are not on the journey of truth, justice, and righteousness strongly enough so that we can ward off other folks that are just eating it up. Look, we got these folks, they don't even like each other. Let's just go in there and exploit them even more. How are we moving on our journey of mind? So I don't know, is there one today? Well, raise your hand, take yourself off mute and say, hey, I'm interested in that community. See what I can learn and see what I can share with you. And we can all journey together more effectively, more righteously, more inspirationally for our children and for generations yet to come. Is there one today? Is there one today? But if not, we all should do. If you agree with me, take yourself off mute and say to Minister Rana, Ashe, thanks and praises, Ashe.
Ashe, thank you.
Ashe.
Beautiful message.
Ashe, family. Ashe,
right.
family.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Excellent.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Thanks and praises for that message.
Ashe.
And all
I
endeavor
needed that.
to do better.
I really
As
needed
we
it.
move
Thank you.
and journey in the spirit of mind, in the power of mind, in the love of mind. Ashe. So now we're going to hear our closing song, Lift Every Voice. Brother Jeff has a version of that, I'm sure that we want to appreciate. Lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony
let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on, let us march on. So now as we get ready to close, we march on. Let's march on in Mott. Check ourselves out as we march on in Mott. We just want to give thanks and praises to the sacred ancestors who came to unite with us today, those whose spirits were resonated within us as we heard their names called out, as well as those whose names we didn't hear, but they resonated within the hearts, the minds, the souls, the spirits of our members, and brought them forward to share that energy, that essence. May those ancestors be with us as we continue on this path of knowing God's truth, to be free and self-determined, to be loving and creative as we cultivate individual and collective self-reliance, as we strive to be the living models who teach our children through our words and even more through our deeds to embrace and manifest our sacred African way. So within that light, through the spirit of Mott and the power of Septepi, let us always strive to rise up and be presented before the throne on high as a people of one heart, one spirit, one mind, one vision,
one vision,
one faith,
one faith,
one love, one sacred destiny,
one sacred destiny,
one divine creator.
one divine creator.
So now let us utter with all our hearts and soul an expression of thanks and praise to the Most High, our Creator. Let us all say, Amen. Amen Ra Ashe. Amen Ra Ashe. Amen Ra Ashe. And now with all of our hearts and all of our souls, let us all share with each other what our Creator and our sacred ancestors truly want us to know. Truly want us to know and show that we are what? That we are the most beautiful people on the face of this earth. Ashe, Ashe.